This is a download from the BBC. To find out more and our terms of use, go to bbcworldservice.com/podcasts.
This is Julian Marshall with NewsHour, recorded at 13 hours GMT on Tuesday the 28th of October. The Ethiopian government stands accused of ruthlessly repressing the country's largest ethnic group, the Oromo. They make up 35% of the population and live in Ethiopia's largest state, Oromia. They have a strong sense of their own identity, and for more than 40 years, the Oromo Liberation Front, or OLF, has been waging an on-off arms struggle against the central government for self-determination. But according to Amnesty International, the Ethiopian government has been arresting, torturing and killing thousands of Oromos. One of those who spoke to Amnesty was a student who we will call Dereje. He fled Ethiopia after he was arrested for the fifth time since the age of 14. On this occasion, he was detained for 8 months and without charge in Maekela Federal Police Detention Centre in Addis Ababa. He's now a refugee in a neighbouring country. This is what he told Amnesty.
They start asking us about the things which we don't know. You are a member of Oromo Liberation Front. You are the one who protects the violence and the protest in the university, in high school, in the college. This is for the third time for you. We have full reports about you and about your family. And my parents didn't know that where I am for all these months, because I'm kidnapped when I'm in the university at midnight, and no one knows where I am. Your legs are tied together, and your head's down the ground, and they pour the water, and your mouth is closed. They ask you a question, and you want to say something, you show your finger, and they stop, they pour the water. Then I told them, I want to breathe, and I don't have nothing to say. He kept biting and slapping bit into my left hand by that black stick. It is very strong stick, inside is metal, and my left hand is broken. I stayed there for more than 1 hour, and I lost my mind. I'm supposed to be in the court. Whether I am innocent or I am guilty, the court is who decide. I stayed there for many months for nothing. And they said that we are the police, we are the court, we are the judge, and even we are your God. If you want, we kill you. If you want, you are survive. We are everything. Just I am hopeless now.
That was the testimony of Dereje and Oromo to Amnesty International. And earlier I spoke to Dr Awol K, a fellow in human rights at the London School of Economics. He also describes himself as an Oromo activist. Was he surprised by this evidence from Amnesty?
I'm actually not surprised. I actually don't believe the report reflects the true scale of the repression and imprisonment that the Oromo people go through. While this is nothing new, this has been ongoing for the last 20 years. In most cases, the kinds of repression that the government practices within Oromia is not reported, but this is not really a report that actually reflects the true scale and extent of the violations and the imprisonment that goes on in Oromia.
But it does appear that there's been an upsurge in the alleged government repression in recent years. Is that in response to an upsurge in Oromo nationalism, or maybe an increase in activities by the OLF?
In my view, there is definitely an upsurge in Oromo nationalism over the course of the last 2-3 years because of, I think, some of the resources that social media offers nowadays. There is, I think, flow of information between activists in the West and Oromos on the ground. And there are a few things that has happened over the course of the last 1 year or so, where people actually took out to the street to protest against some of the practices of the government, including, for example, the government's decision to expand the city of Addis to the neighboring Oromia region. So that accounts for part of the heightening of tension at the moment.
The Ethiopian government hasn't responded specifically to the Amnesty International allegations, but they did tell us that there are Oromo in the government, parliament, judiciary and medicine, and that they manage their own region. So you are represented politically, according to them.
This is one of those instances where governments use, the formal structure of laws and institutions to give a facade of representation. But in fact, no, absolutely not. Oromos are not represented. The Ethiopian constitution provides for people's right to self-determination and so on and so forth. But, the Oromos have about 183 people in the parliament, while the party who actually runs the show in Ethiopia have about 38 seats in the parliament. but they are the one who actually runs. And the Oromos don't have power that represents or that reflects the actual resources and numbers that they have.
And very briefly, how do you see that changing? How do you see the size of the Oromo population being reflected in the governance of Ethiopia?
I think most Oromos want a fair term of association with the rest of Ethiopia. But, frankly, I actually don't see, given the support that the government receives from the West at the moment, I don't see how the Ethiopian government actually opens the system up so that people can participate freely and openly in the process. I don't see it now.
Dr Awol K of the London School of Economics, and within the